No matter what the technical difficulty is, this man is a professional. He goes all the way. Well, this is Jersey Joe.
It doesn't.
Reaver After Dark.
Want the backheads to give you a blessing?
8 p.m. on shrmedia.com. Was an extremely great conservative commentator.
Classified my ass!
Government is another way to say better than you.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show.
And welcome to the Reaver After Dark. I am your host, Jersey. Well, I am one of the hosts. I'm Jersey Joe, and we have Crash, but it's hosted by the Jersey Boys. I'm kind of off step here, you know, the other show running over again into my time. I know accidents happen, but it's just happening way too often. And it throws off my whole timing.
An accident is not something that is repeated.
Exactly.
If it's repeated, it's no longer an accident.
The Reaver After Dark show is every Wednesday, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember to join the live chat. Go to shrmedia.com, click on the chat room, join the conversation. We'll be discussing news, political commentary, smart-ass commentary, and when we can... All right, just go to Reaver.1, go to the website, you can hit the contact button and send me a message, or you can go to JerseyJoe at Reaver.1, or for that screw-up, you can go to Crash at Reaver.1. Exactly. I gotta say something before we really start getting into it. I'm pretty sure everybody heard what happened in Oregon last night. I guess this is what it means. I guess this is what they mean by white privilege.
Yeah.
You know, that you get gunned down by the FBI. I guess if we want non-lethal options from the law enforcement, we need to loot and set buildings on fire, like Ferguson and Baltimore. Then the media will blame the law enforcement for using non-lethal. I know I cut you off. Sorry, go.
No, you did. I liked exactly where you're going already. Keep going. If
we want, do we have to burn buildings? Do we have to, start looting and rioting for the media to get on our side? Because when Baltimore and Ferguson happened, all I heard from the media is how evil the police are, how militarized they are. Now we got reports coming out of Oregon last night that this was a setup, that they had agreed to a meeting, and then they set up this traffic stop. They opened fire on someone with their hands up. Yes, the police chase ensued after that, because if you're getting shot at, and I don't totally agree with it, but he did what he thought he had to. They were trying to kill him. He had his head out and his hands out of the window, and they're firing shots at his head. Then once he crashed, he got out of the car, hands up, and started walking towards him, and they shot him. As from reports from people inside the car, and not only did they shoot him then, they walked up while he was laying on the ground and shot him, are the reports that are coming out right now. I guess that's white privilege. Go ahead.
I'm kind of torn on it. I'm not trying to, I don't want to jump on either bandwagon just yet. I'm torn on it because there are conflicting reports, as there's going to be. It's still too fresh. Yeah, I've heard that they were on their way to meet with another town that invited them in to talk, and the FBI just happened to pull them over. They saw the opportunity, and they took it. So the initial report was it was a small group of agents. That was the initial impression that I got. Then the report is that it was arranged by the FBI to get these guys out there. They were driving to meet the FBI, and then they're hit with a roadblock that extends for miles, and there's all these cars, there's snipers in the trees, over 40 rounds in the vehicle alone, not to mention how many missed. I mean, which side do you believe? You know what? I don't know. But the one thing that does seem to be apparent between both reports, now, I'm not going to jump on the hands up, don't shoot things, because, I have white privilege, so I can't do that.
Exactly.
But the FBI was quick to state, we don't know who, it was a shootout. Shots were exchanged, but we don't know who shot first.
That right there tells me they shot first.
Well, that right there is, well, that's suspect, but fine. Okay, so the FBI shot first. Okay, so you've got trained marksmen. Now, these guys are supposed to be qualified with their weapons, correct?
Yep.
They kill one, injure another one. Now, based on what I know of their training and their past precedent, they don't fire one or two. They empty the mag.
Yep.
They empty it. So, I'm inclined to believe with the 40 rounds in the vehicle, multiple rounds in the individual, so on and so forth. So you're going to tell me that there's five criminals, dozens of law enforcement. They all open fire. All their shots hit the mark, essentially, with no strays hitting any other officers. But untrained militants exchanged fire on a large group of people, but not one round hit an officer. I mean, these guys are that bad of a shot? Really? I'm sorry, even a blind nut's going to get a fucking squirrel. I mean, a blind squirrel's going to get a nut. Whoa.
Blind nut's going to get a squirrel.
Sorry.
That's really interesting. I do also have, the incident I was involved in when I was younger, and I had the FBI investigate me. And to quote the FBI agent, he does not give a shit who is innocent, who is guilty. As long as they're able to close cases, that's all they care about. Now, the report that I was giving is from inside the car, from one of the females that was inside of the car. It was recorded.
Not to cut you off real quick, but in case you don't say it, if anybody wants to read that, I just read that before the air. Thank you for sharing that with me, by the way. That is on Reaver.1.
Thank you.
That is posted on the website. You can read this entire article that we are discussing. And God help us all if there's even 5% truth to that article. Make up your own mind about it, if you will. But if even 5% of that proves to be true in any sense, we've got a massive problem. And it's a lot bigger than anybody ever thought. Sorry, keep going.
No, and I'm going to actually jump to a little bit of other news. I don't want to say news, but there's a video that was made by some youth in Germany. And what was said rung so true with what's going on in this country, too. And it goes on, as it says, the video from Germany's youth talks about the migrant crisis as a colossal cultural and political event. Speaking directly to the European leaders, they say, you impose tolerance and diversity, but you mean self-hatred and self-denial and self-abolishment. You love and support the foreign and hate and fight what is our own. You want us into believing that we have no identity, that we are too homogenized. We shall be repressed and replaced. You preach of diversity of cultures, yet you destroy them. An end to the politics that takes away our rights to our identity and our self-determination. The end of the social mainstream in which common sense yields to political correctness.
Very nicely worded.
And it's from, there's a new, I don't know, new, but it's an emerging political party called the Identitarians. And it's made up of a lot of youth, and it's not what Germany and the press have been trying to everybody picture them as, the skinheads and neo-Nazis. These are, as they call them, hipsters. It is people that are tired of, they're teaching, trying to impose intolerance and diversity. But what they really mean is self-hatred, self-denial. And we have that in this country going on.
Well, actually, you know what? You bring up a really interesting thing. And I actually didn't really even think about it until just now. I was listening to a recent college graduate. Graduated about 2 years ago. They were doing a thing on up here about essentially, what do we think about the migrants and the political stance that the different politicians have, blah, 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 whatever. But he made a very interesting point, and it's really right in line with that. Everybody is preaching, unification. We need equal rights, equal this, equal that, equal this, equal that. But at the same time, they've been yelling and screaming and using this new coin phrase of white privilege. And he said that it's so bad, they're shoving it down their throats in the universities. They're actually telling college students that you should feel guilty. You should have guilt on you for the fact that your ancestors oppressed their ancestors. Because you're white, you should feel guilty.
Yeah.
They're actually telling them this. And he said, he's like, it's so disgusting because they're supposed to be, everybody wants tolerance, but they're dividing us on purpose. They're actually teaching division, and not in a mathematics class. And he heard what I'm saying. He's like, this is ridiculous. I had nothing to do with what my ancestors did. Well, it doesn't matter. Yeah, and they started going off on him. The whole other side of the class starts going off on him. He said, well, as a point of fact, my ancestors, they came over late 1890s, early 1900s. What slaves did they own in New York City? That's not the point. That's not the point. That's not the point. Well, wait a second. You just said that I'm supposed to feel guilt because my ancestors owned slaves. No, they didn't. They didn't even come to the country until well after that. They came to the country after the Civil War. But that's not the point. So the point's supposed to be we're going to signify your guilt based on a color, not by what your ancestors may or may not have done.
Well,
if we're going to use that as the token, then you know what? Fine. How about black privilege? And yeah, go ahead, send me all the hate mail you want. My email address is already out there. I don't give a crap. You're saying that I should have guilt and I have got privilege and I should feel guilty for it because my ancestors had slaves? Well, how about your ancestors that sold the slaves? How about that? And get your damn facts straight. Most of the slaves do not come from Africa.
It goes further than that. I mean, there was an equal amount of black slave owners. The black Muslims were the ones going to Africa half the time, more than half the time, and they were the ones gathering the slaves and then selling them into the United States and other countries. There was an equal amount of white slaves, as we've talked about in the past, but yes, they were called indentured servants.
Indentured servants.
But they were slaves.
It doesn't. We have different words for them, and we stigmatize some words and we lapse over other words. You know what? It's called world history, people. That's what it is. You know what?
What's world history?
I am a student. I am a student of history. I study the history so that I do not repeat it.
You just totally went over a lot of people's heads. They don't understand if you fail to know history.
Let's put it this way. I study the past because it interests me, and I want to see where we're going in the future. The only way to know how far you've progressed in anything is to look at where you came from before. Okay, if you got a D on your mathematics exam and on the first semester and you got a B on it on your final semester, hey, you progressed. Okay, technically, that exam was history. It's happened. It's in the past. But the thing that I don't get stuck on is living in the past. Because guess what? It's done. It's over with. Let it the fuck go.
Just remember, you have white privilege. You're so privileged, you don't even know you're privileged.
Yep.
That one was told to me one day, and I just, oh my God. Yeah, that one really makes sense. All right, now this was an article that was put out literally about 5-10 minutes before we got on air. Amon Bundy tells Oregon occupiers to stand down and go home. Bundy is encouraging his followers to abandon the occupation of a federal wildlife refuge in Oregon following his arrest on Tuesday night. Through his attorneys, Bundy asked the remaining occupiers to leave the refuge and go home. Bundy and 5 others, including his brother Ryan, were arrested Tuesday night on charges of impending the investigation of law enforcement officials. A 7th occupier was killed by police during a traffic stop, while 2 others were arrested out of state.
Oh, actually, going into that, because I've been trying to figure out that whole arrested out of state thing.
Yeah,
the one that I really find it interesting how they link it. Not how they link it, because I haven't found a link. It's the individual that was arrested from Arizona. All right. Talk.
He's got the little one outside screaming for him.
Yeah, she went in. So the interesting thing, now that we have that...
Mommy needs you!
Yeah, I mean, you can hear her in the background saying, "No, I don't." Well, that makes me feel really loved.
Oh, I didn't hear that part. I had turned the mic down, so...
No, the thing I find interesting is the one that they arrested in Arizona, they made a point. Now, this all is supposed to have to do with this occupation, correct?
Yeah.
Militant occupation, correct? So why did they make a point to report that he was involved with anti-Islamic protests? That's the only thing they list about him. That was the only thing they listed. That was it. Not his involvement with militant, but the fact that he was involved with an anti-Islamic or anti-Muslim protest in another state. What's the correlation there? Other than trying to get another group involved and trying to drum up something else that does not exist.
They're trying to drum up hatred for these patriots. Now, I was not for originally the way it was broadcasted that they, by force and heavily armed, took over a federal building. You know, the way it was originally stated, it sounded like a militia takeover. And I mean, like, shots were fired. God knows how many people were killed.
Oh, yeah, I was expecting, to see these reports of Apache parked on the roof and an M1, sitting out front. And
it was a bunch of Westerns that always carry a sidearm, walked into a federal public building and sat down.
Well, let's make this real clear. How about we just say what the sign on the front of the building says? Welcome to your land.
It's not our land anymore.
Land.
Yeah.
It's public land. It's publicly owned. That means it is for the public. And in that, now, yes, okay, the public land in my state, could I walk out there with an AR-15? No. Couldn't even walk out there with a paintball gun, for crying out loud. But out there, it's legal to do so. I'm still trying to figure out what law they broke. What was the massive law that they broke that warranted this type of response? I will give some. I mean, I'm not going to throw the police underneath the bus, because I do think that most times they do the best they can with what they have. And
FBI, on the other hand, FBI is a different beast from local police. And I know I technically did group them together, but I'm focusing on the locals, the state, that level. Those are not the ones that seem to have caused this issue. It's the FBI. Listen, it's time for a break. So you can run inside and go see what your wife wants you for, and your little one is screaming for you. I'm not an asshole.
Nobody wants me.
Well, you're listening to the Reaver After Dark with your host, the Jersey Boys. We'll be right back.
Listening to the SHR Media Network.
You have been listening to Reaver Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver Common Sense Show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and highplains.dailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying calf for the stupid pro.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it is the Reaver After Dark, hosted by Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe, and Jersey Crash, right here on shrmedia.com and highplainsdailynews.com.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you missed any of the Reaver Common Sense or Reaver After Dark show, just go to Reaver.one. While you're there, click the like button so you can keep up with everything Reaver. Now, back to the show.
Listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show.
And welcome back to the Reaver After Dark, with your hosts, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash. The Reaver After Dark show is every Wednesday, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember to join the live chat. Go to shrmedia.com and click on the chat room. Join the conversation. We'll be delivering news, political commentary. And if you want to be part of the show, you can always go to Reaver.one website, click on the contact button, send me a message. Or you can email crash@Reaver.one. Remember, any of the hate comments, any of the hate mail goes directly to him.
Oh, that coming.
Talk about throwing under the bus.
Well, that's okay. I got thrown underneath the bus today at work, too. Let's see. I broke up 3 fights amongst 2 people all before I could finish my second cup of coffee. So then you find out, okay, well, maybe we need to start looking for other people. So you know what my supervisor does? He puts an ad out. Okay, I'm good with that. Ask me to help do the interviews. Okay, I'm good with that. Within 20 minutes, my inbox flipping explodes. But what the hell is this? Oh, I forgot to tell you, I put down your email address. You have to put a screen all the candidates. You son of a...
I was about to say, was it Ahmed the terrorist blowing up your mailbox? I am a terrifying terrorist, but I am made in China. All right, FBI has declares arbitrary halt to background check appeals. The FBI temporarily halts efforts to process denial appeals on background checks, thereby leaving up to 7,100 Americans in limbo as to whether the federal government will allow them to buy a gun or not.
Currently.
Currently. By the NRA saying halting appeals on the background check is equivalent to halting 7,100 Americans' right to due process.
Yeah, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but the reason why I said currently is because they stopped it. Those appeals, I think that only goes back about 4 months. They got like a 4-month backlog. So if you're generating, on average, let's see, 7,000 appeals over the course of 4 months, that's a little over about 1,300 appeals per month. And they've already admitted, and this is what I find kind of interesting, they've already admitted that in the wake of new legislation restricting guns, or any type of mass incident that gains a lot of notoriety involving a firearm, gun sales go up. Interesting.
Well, also, one thing...
But now nobody can appeal anything, and they've also admitted that the background check system is incomplete. And most of the time, when they do the appeals, they find out there's no reason for the person to have been denied in the first place.
Exactly. Well, what sucks in the state of Florida, you pay for everything, and then they put your background check through. If you get caught up in this halt, or if you get turned down, there is no refund. You lose your money.
What do you mean by you pay for everything? You mean you have to prepay for the firearm?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
They have the right to keep their the money that you paid for a gun that the U.S. government you could be held up in this
definitely
in a process because your rights have been taken away because some asshole in Michael Bloomberg has a bug up his ass. You got the idiot Obama and all these anti-gunners. They don't care about that shit. But don't step on their civil rights. Don't step on their constitutional rights. Go ahead.
Well, now here's a couple of things. Number one, you're prepaying for a firearm. Okay, fine. That's putting the gun on hold for you. Okay? They can't sell it to anybody else. Okay, fine. I get that. But if they're keeping the property to resell to somebody else and they're keeping your money, how is that not theft, for one? Number two, I thought that it was law. For some reason, I thought there was like some type of federal thing at that level, that if a check goes beyond a certain amount of time, it's an automatic approval unless there is a mitigating circumstance that can be proven in a court of law.
Yes, Florida does have the 3-day
time frame.
Florida gives them 3 days.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it's federal or is it by state. But
for some reason I wanted to say that it was like a 30-day, it was like a month or something like that.
No, I believe it
could be held up for, because I know in the state of New Jersey, for me to apply for my permit to purchase, by state law, it's 30 days.
But that's different than your background check.
Well, when I apply for I have to get a permit to purchase a pistol.
Right.
They run a background check for that. Now, that's a screwy thing, is I pay for that. So I pay for this permit that gives me the privilege to purchase a pistol, and I have to pay for that, and they run a background check, and they can stall that up essentially indefinitely, even though statutory, by the statute, they can't, but they do. But once I get that little piece of paper, it's dated the day I pick it up, supposed to be. I take it down to the gun shop that day. I'd like to buy that handgun, please. I need your $16 for your NICS check. I just had that done. Well, you could have committed a crime between now and then. We have to run your background again.
I just left the police station. Yeah. It's next door. It's been 30 seconds. But somehow I ran down the street, robbed the bank, got convicted, or got arrested for it, held bail, got bail, was over here in 30 seconds.
And the FBI has even said that the NICS system it's not up to date. and it gets updated so infrequently because it's a voluntary update by the state. They don't have all the information. So even if I did do something wrong, it may not show up in there.
Money scam.
I mean, yeah, you think?
That's all it is. Well, at least we're not in Massachusetts. We could, what's the city? Lowell, Massachusetts. We could be in there. They just adopted a new law requiring handgun permit applicants to write an essay and pay worth $1,100 in training alone to qualify. But you're going to have to write an essay. I'd never get a fucking permit up there. Never.
But I am so, you know what? I am so going to market my services up there. I've had to write so many dang essays. I'm starting up an online business.
Hey, I will admit it. The stuff that goes up on the webpage, some of it is passed on from other website. There's credit given. And the articles that come from me, yes, it goes through a double process. It goes through Crash, and it goes through my wife. And when my wife does it, I'm getting cussed at every 5 seconds as she does it.
If I look at it, I'll just call you up laughing.
Well, you know how to interpret my language. What is it? You called it Joeisms?
Yeah, I speak Joeism.
Exactly. But you have to write a fucking essay? How come I feel like I'm saying that like I'm Spanish? Hey, essay!
Hey, that's hate speech. Don't do that.
You got to write that essay.
Yeah, but, you know, the thing is, New Jersey's not a whole lot different. If I want to get a pistol permit, I don't have to write an essay. I have to fill out a form. I have to pay money, blah blah blah, and then I have to wait for some bureaucrat to get off his butt. Because that's a screwy thing. Is it goes to the state police. The state police run all the background checks, and then they send the report, which is going to say whether or not I'm eligible or ineligible by law, which side I'm on, to the chief of police for my jurisdiction. Then he reviews it, and he has to sign off on it. It is solely at his discretion whether or not I am going to get that weapon. And it has even been stated that because it is discretionary, New Jersey actually does officially, they're not supposed to, but they do, and they even admitted it. They do it discretionarily. If they feel there's already too many weapons in the area, they'll deny you. Just on that fact alone. Even though there's nothing, and then I have to pay money to go to court to fight it. 90% of the people that go to court to fight it actually win because there was no legal standing. But I'm the one that has to pay all the money, and I don't get any of that back. If I'm found innocent, I don't get that money back. I have to pay all the court fees. I have to pay everything. I don't get none of that back.
The new California. That's what.
However, if I want to get a concealed carry permit, and New Jersey is a shall issue. New Jersey is a shall issue. Okay, it is a shall issue state. But I actually do have to write essentially an essay and be interviewed, and I have to prove that there is an imminent threat to my life and all this other crap for them to even consider whether or not that weapon is in the best interest of myself and the public safety.
Yeah, we saw how great that system goes for, I forget her name. She wanted one because her ex-boyfriend kept threatening her, and he murdered her.
In the driveway.
Yep.
They broke up, had a nasty breakup. He was extremely controlling. He was, if I remember correctly, he was not unknown to the police. In other words, he was known to the police. And she filed the paperwork for the restraining order, got the restraining order, wasn't doing a whole lot of good. She was fearful for her life. She did not apply. And here's where a little bit of the misconception is. She didn't apply for concealed carry. She didn't own a gun. She was applying to get one.
Yeah, still.
She wanted to get one. She was applying for the firearms identification card and the permit to purchase a pistol. That's what she filed for. And it got held up in the police department, and held up in the police department, and held up in the police department the entire time, beyond what they're supposed to. He shows up, and he used an assault knife.
I say New Jersey comes up with a new law.
Her to death.
In fact, Americans should come up with a new law. Being a politician is not guaranteed underneath the Constitution, but I say they should have to put a license forth for the people. They have to pay for a license, go through training, write essays, and ask permission from the people if they can do it. Oh, no, we'll hear, no, you can't do that.
So that'll impinge on their civil liberties. But did you see the thing from the NRA? It caught a lot of flack. It was an NRA commercial having to do with Obama. Have you seen that?
What doesn't NRA get flack for? They said hello to somebody yesterday, and everybody's up in arms about it.
No, you've got to you've got to Google it. Okay.
Google NRA up in arms.
No, NRA. I think that I used 3 words. NRA.
Right there's your 3 words.
What was it? NRA ad Obama. Okay. NRA ad Obama, and I think I might have added kids in there because that was the big controversy, was supposedly NRA was attacking his kids. I watched the NRA ad, and I watched the commentary from these knuckleheaded liberals. Now, they're saying that, this was a low blow, this crossed the line, the NRA went after Obama's kids, they have nothing to do with it, blah, blah, blah. The only thing that was in the ad was Obama's against putting armed security or putting armed guards or police officers or veterans who have been trained in firearm use. He's against putting them in schools to protect your kids, whereas his kids go to schools where they are protected by armed guards 24/7. His family is protected by armed guards 24/7. So armed guards keep his family safe, but a sign keeps your family safe. And then they put up a picture of the gun-free zone in front of the school. I'm sorry, how is that attacking? That's pointing out fact.
That's the problem. It was an attack because they brought forth facts.
Bloomberg is one of the biggest anti-gun guys. Yeah, he's got armed security. Rosie O'Donnell was at the Moms Demand Action March saying, we need gun regulation. We need to remove all the guns. She's got a private bodyguard to pass.
Moms Demand did a big protest. And of course, the picture was taken at a certain angle that looked like there was 1,000. There was less than 100 there. But they had armed guards around them as they were screaming.
Mirrors.
Huh?
They use mirrors.
Yes, they use smoke and mirrors. But they were screaming about how no one should have guns as they have guns surrounding them.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, honestly, I still
hang on. There was one thing I want to touch because then we got to go to break. Michael Bloomberg. Jeb Bush came out and said that Michael Bloomberg is a great guy and a patriot. I didn't know exactly. I didn't know a guy that wants to walk all over and do away with it, one of our amendments is a patriot.
Yeah, this comes from the guy that's in charge of the state for the stop and frisk policy. Where if I had a Swiss Army knife in my pocket, that's a concealed weapon. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah,
that's the guy I want to listen to for policy. Yeah, okay.
Well, he is thinking about doing a bid to run for president.
And for all of you out there, real quick before we go to a break, because I know I'm going to get cut off in a second here. For all of you that are out there, I will not just attack that moron based on his racial profiling policies, his anti-gun views, his stupid pocket knife rules. I'll also point out what affects mothers. He was also a big proponent of breast milk is best for babies, and was pushing legislation and pushing policy through hospitals where formula was not being offered to infants. Mothers were being essentially told they had to breastfeed because that's considered more natural. That's considered better.
The left telling us how to live life day by day.
What about the, what about the babies that have a medical condition? Oh, no, those were exempt. Oh, okay, all right. So if the baby can't latch on, they're exempt and they get a formula. So in other words, you do have the formula.
How about the babies that are allergic to milk?
What about
they're allergic to lactate, which
but again, that one also comes underneath the medical exemption. So okay, I'll give you that one. What about the moms who
demand action?
Have either a personal choice, I'm going to say a personal choice, but they don't want to do that. Number two, the moms that they're career women who know that they are not going to be able to be there every 2 to 3 hours when their baby needs to get fed, and they want to make sure that their baby is used to what they are going to be eating, or the mothers that have extreme sensitivity on that part of their body to where it would be uncomfortable and or painful for them to breastfeed. You know what they were told? Suck it up, buttercup.
How about the fact that the left, including Bloomberg, scream about it's the woman's right to have an abortion. We have no right to tell a woman what to do with her body, but yet Bloomberg wants to tell them who can best breastfeed and so forth and so on.
Yeah.
But that's Bloomberg for you. Yeah, we'll be right back after this commercial break. You're listening to The Reaver After Dark with your host, Jersey Joe, or the Jersey Boys.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
You have been listening to Reaver Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver Common Sense Show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and highplainsdailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. You didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying cap for the stupid pro.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it is the Reaver After Dark, hosted by Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe, and Jersey Crash, right here on shrmedia.com and highplainsdailynews.com.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you missed any of the Reaver of Common Sense or Reaver After Dark show, just go to Reaver.one. While you're there, click the like button so you can keep up with everything Reaver. Now, back to the show.
listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show.
And welcome back to the Reaver After Dark Show with your hosts, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash. Yeah. Nice try there, Junior. The Reaver After Dark Show is every Wednesday, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember to join the live chat. Go to shrmedia.com, click on the chat room, join the conversation. We'll be delivering news, a lot of smart-ass comments back and forth, a lot of insults back and forth, because we are not politically correct, and we are not a bunch of liberal pussies that have thin skin. So, if you want to contact us, go to Reaver.one website, click on the contact button. Hey, send me a message. If you want to send an email, send it to Crash@Reaver.one. Yell at him, not me.
Wait, hold on. Let's make this really clear. If you have any complaints, disagreements, dissenting points of view, or hate mail, please send it my way. I would love receiving that type of stuff. It actually makes my day. Now, if you have any sponsorship offers, send that to him, because I don't want to deal with that crap. I have something I wanted to bring up. I know it's an old topic, and it's going to be an ongoing one.
You're a woman trapped in a man's body?
No, we are not talking about Jenner. That's just not freaking happening, okay? Because that thing just needs to go away.
He actually made an announcement that he is now ready to date. So, there you go. All right, go on to your AK or AR discussion.
Well, it's something I wanted to bring up because it keeps coming up. It just keeps coming up. Yeah, it's an assault rifle, and we've covered this numerous times. AR did not stand for assault rifle. Assault rifle is a misnomer. That is something that the media came up with. AR was Armalite rifle.
Well, explain if it means assault rifle. What about the pistol that they make, the shotgun that they make that are AR, whatever the designation?
Yep. They also made a 22. They actually made multiple 22 caliber rifles. Okay. Every single one of their firearms was labeled AR, Armalite rifle, because that was the name of the company. Okay? It's just like it's a Colt. No, it's not a flipping horse. Okay? It's the name of the company. All right? But anyway, getting back to this, everybody keeps jumping on the whole thing about, well, it's a military assault weapon. It's military. It doesn't belong in the hands of the civilians. Okay, well, now, yes, I will agree with you that a military weapon does not have any place, at least in my opinion. No, it does not have any place in my household. I do not have any interest in having a fully automatic Gatling gun. Other than some of the ones from the Civil War were actually pretty flippin' cool. Okay. But I will give you that one. Okay? However, do a little research. The AR-15, the original AR-15 was designed to be a lighter weight variant of the AR-10. It was done after World War II. Now, yes, their intention was to market it to the military. It never flippin' happened. They sold the rights off to Colt.
Yep, and Colt is the one.
Colt. Now, the first time the Armalite rifle tried to go to the military with it, they did not win the bid. They sold the rights off to Colt. Colt did some modifications. They ended up getting a small contract, and it was only Special Forces units that were given the weapon. And depending on what you look at, that was in 1962 or 1963. Now, it depends on the source, on which year is used of when that weapon went into service. And it was the M16. Okay, the M16 went into military service. The AR-15 was marketed for civilian distribution in 1963. The AR-15 was never a military weapon. Never, ever, it was not. It has similarities with a military weapon. But you know what? So does my flipping shotgun. Because it's a Mossberg. So do I need to start calling that an AS?
So
I'll call that an AS, and I'll call every single liberal an ASS.
What about military vets?
Now, let's go
They're
back,
considered
let's go
weapons.
Back.
They're considered vet. They're considered military weapons.
A veteran?
Yeah. They're considered a weapon.
Yeah, if you had martial arts training in the military, you're a military weapon. You had self-defense training in the military, you're a military weapon. Wait a second. A vet was taught how to use a combat knife, a K-bar. Uh-oh. I'm looking at one of those evil K-bars right now. Uh-oh.
Better watch out. It'll jump off the shelf and kill you.
I have an AK in my garage. I have an assault knife. I mean, come on. And let's just continue with that. Look up the M1 Garand. All right, what did I say?
The assault knife, AK.
I thought you'd like that.
It shoots 30-round clip per magazine.
All right, you know what? I'm going to see if I can figure out a way to make a picture of my AK knife shooting a 30-round clip magazine. I'll have to figure out how to do that.
Well, you heard that one politician that went on about... Well, I had another one.
A YouTube video of the guy that actually made one, which I thought was absolutely flipping hysterical.
There was another anti-gunner that said that but the 15 stood for how many rounds per second? No. Go ahead. You can go on now.
You done yet? Juvenile. Look back at the weapon what was the main weapon in World War II? What was the main weapon?
The M1 Garand. I think it was the Garand.
Okay. Uh-huh. And what caliber did that shoot?
That I did not sure. I can't remember. Wasn't it a 308?
308. Okay. Or the 7.62 by 51. And no, that's not an AK round. For those of you that think anything that says 7.62 is for, a Russian-made rifle, which it's not. But anyway, the 308, that was a civilian chamber. That rifle came from that type of market. Yes, the military is always going to have guns, and so are the civilian population. We both have our own variations. Now, the ironic thing is back then, there was no selective fire. It's essentially the same dang weapon that the military used, the hunters used. And it was even more popular after the conflict because they had so much surplus. All these guys coming off of duty, getting out of the military, they knew how to use the dang thing. So what was the most common thing for them to go and hunt with? The exact weapon they used during the war. The exact same weapon. Because guess what? They were most proficient with it. It was the safest option. And that was embraced by the whole population. Let's go back even further. Let's go back to World War I. The bolt-action rifle, the Springfield 30-06, started off as a civilian weapon. So if you want to keep throwing out there that my rifle is taken from the military, check your facts. It's backwards. And if you want to keep going back in history, let's go all the way back to the First War. I'm sorry, where did the weapons come from that we fought the Revolution with? That's right. They were in the closet of the farmers that had pitchforks that kicked the crap out of an entire nation. And got us the independence to be able to have this debate so you can tell me what I can and cannot do.
I saw, actually... I saw, it was an ad for... It looked like a 308 rifle. But it was the 223. And that's what makes me laugh, because it had the clip, a regular AR-15 clip in it. And this rifle has been around for a while. And it's just... They don't want to ban that one, even though it shoots the same rate, the same round. Everything's the same except for appearances.
I could go to the store today. I could go down to the sporting goods store. I could pick up 2 rifles off the rack. And if I tell you the calibers of the rifles, you'll tell me which one I'm allowed to have. One's a 223, one's a 5.56.
You just confused all the anti-gunners.
Yeah. Okay, well, here's the fact. It doesn't matter what the bullet is. I could get a modification kit if I felt like wasting $250, and I could turn a Ruger Model 1022, which shoots the 22 long rifle, one of the smallest bullets that you can get, and I can make that look like the big, bad, scary assault rifle. And honestly, that's one thing I'd like for us to just get away from entirely. Let's stop using a stupid misnomer and actually call a weapon by what it is. An assault rifle is a rifle used for an assault. That's all it is. Any single rifle can be an assault rifle. It all comes down to what it was used for.
For those that missed it Tuesday...
media coin BS.
No. The assault rifle was actually a Clinton era description used. So it wasn't the media that did it. It was Clinton politicians to try to get the original ban through. That
actually just gave the debate more credence.
Yeah, I know. All right, we are out of time.
You want a flavored cigar too?
We are out of time. Oh God, I don't want a fish cigar. We are out of time. Next up is Ken the Conservative.
Seriously?
Yeah, we are out of time. Yeah.
Yeah, that was what,
I know, it goes by quick, doesn't it?
All right, you know what? From now on, we need a 2-hour slot for one simple reason. We need 1 hour to insult each other and 1 hour to actually have a discussion.
Exactly. But listen, Monday night, the Flyers played the Bruins again, and we lost to the Bruins. But we won this series, but I'm going to give out a shout-out to Sackhead Sean. His Bruins did beat us once this year. So, you got the one win.
No matter what,
shout out, and I love it.
I hate when I hit the wrong buttons. Something. Till next week. Everybody have a good week.
Have a good week, everybody.
You've been listening to The Reaver After Dark, hosted by the Jersey Boys.
I've been around this world, yet I see no end. All shall fade to black again and again. This storm that's broken me, my only friend, yeah. In this river